Julia Robinson. All right, y'all. My guest is here, popping, ready. We're going to jump into this thing because it's a busy night for me here on After Dark with Shawn Cornelius. And I'll tell you more about what's going on that later. But let me bring him in. Oh, gosh. Met this brother years ago. Fantastic talent. Comedian, director, writer, producer, husband, dad. A very great creator. Oh, acting coach, acting teacher. He's so creative, and I love him to death. Again, when I honestly know people, it's great to have people come sit down with you that you honestly know and you can, rap with and you consider brothers or sisters. So let me just bring him right on. Victor Cruz, come on out of the green room.
Yo, Shawn, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, brother. How you doing?
Hey, man, can't complain, man. I'm, it's, blessed as well, man. I got a beautiful family and support team and wonderful people around me, including yourself. And what can I say? I can't complain. I mean, yeah. I got a list of complaints, but I'm not gonna share. Then people stop listening to me.
Right. No, listen, man. The truth. Let the truth be told, brother. And I really appreciate you, stopping through. Obviously, this is an opportunity that the Lord has given for us to sit down and rap because I've known you for quite some time. Don't even know the years, but it's been enough years that you weren't married, didn't have a family, you were doing your career, you didn't have your film. So we're going to get into all of that. Where does Victor Cruz hail from?
Well, I grew up in the Boogie Down Bronx, South Bronx, 142nd and Brook Avenue is my old stomping grounds. But I've lived all around the Bronx. My teenage years, I was in the Grand Concourse. At some point, I moved to East Harlem, El Barrio. I spent some time there, and I've moved around a lot too. I've lived in Florida, I lived in Puerto Rico, back to New York, and I've been around, man.
Well, that's awesome. I'm here in the Bronx myself, and got some ties here, but that's great. So all of the things that you're doing now, when did you realize that you had these blessings? Let's start with the comedy. I met you as a comedian.
That's right, man. I think, since I was a kid, I've always wanted to dabble in comedy. And, this is probably a very common story amongst, folks in my community, whether you're Black or Latino. I think comedy was part of our upbringing. It was a defense mechanism. It's what kept you going at home. Everybody in my family was funny. You would snap on each other, crack on each other. It was almost like the breath of life. And so it being that, you kind of just say, man, I want to somehow be a part of the funny world. I want to be a part of that. I want to be in the movies. How do I get into that?
Right.
So I think that's, for me, it started early on as a kid. I mean, when I was little, I'd imitate funny sketches and bits I might see on TV. Me and my cousin, we'd get together and sort of audio record them, and then play them back. And I don't think we were planning on sending the tape to anybody, just entertaining.
Right. Okay, cool. So now what's the year now as far as comedy? How long have you been doing it?
Man, the first year that I officially did stand-up comedy was probably 1997. That was the first time that I got on the microphone to do it. First time I ever did it was at the Boston Comedy Club.
Yeah, I remember that.
Village. And man, just a special experience. The host, he just gave me a fantastic introduction. He gave me a lot of love. And so it was easy to get on that stage and attempt to crack the first, that first act. And I just remember how special it was too, because I think the second time I ever did a show was at the Boston, and I remember Dave Chappelle was on that show, and people like Jeff Ross and Jim Gaffigan, and it was just people that, I mean, they weren't super famous at the time, but I definitely knew somebody like a Chappelle. So I knew that I was in the right place, and I guess the rest is history.
Yeah, awesome, man. And it's a fabulous history, bro, because it branched you off into some other blessings that you obviously have that we can jump right into as far as your acting. And I told you, honestly, when we were setting up this interview, I was laying in bed watching the Blacklist the other last week, and I've really just started getting turned on to that show. I love it. And I'm looking at the screen, and all of a sudden, here comes the security guard, and I'm like, "Hey, I know him." So you've been doing some acting, not only there, but on Law and Order, and you've done some films of Taking a Pelham, 1, 2, 3 with Denzel. You've done so many things. When did the acting bug hit you?
Well, just like comedy, like I definitely knew at 11 years old that I wanted to be a part of the entertainment world.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I was an art major in high school. I used to draw cartoons and things. And I think at some point I wanted to be a cartoonist. Like that was definitely an original dream of mine.
Right.
But then while I was in high school, I switched over to musical theater. So I was dancing, acting, and singing. And it's actually where I met my wife as well. Believe it or not, we were just friends. But anyways, when I knew I wanted to be an actor all through high school, and I didn't go to college right away. I took a year off, and I was like, all right, I'm going to try to do this on my own. And so, I would definitely say late 90s I started it.
Okay, sweet, man. Yeah, and you've done I just glanced over a few. Excuse me, and I know a few of them because I also saw you in the Law and Order episodes as well. What else has you done I know you're proud of all of it, because being in the same industry, whatever you get a job, that's a decent thing to have. So what are some of the other projects that you've done that you want to mention?
There's been so many great projects that I've worked on. I think I was just telling a story. I think I was talking to my mom about this morning, where I was telling her that there's a Law and Order episode that I did where I dress as Santa Claus, and I get chased in the streets by Ice-T and his partner. This is for SVU.
Yeah.
And I remember Ice-T, he was just like, he was like, so is it cool if I like slap you upside the head? I was like, yeah, man, go for it. He's like, what? But the set was so cool because like I had done other Law and Orders, but this one in particular it just felt like an independent film set. It just felt like you could bring a lot of your own choices. It didn't feel as controlled, which was interesting, because a lot of times with TV, everything is like on a certain kind of clock, and you kind of have to hit the points, and the timing's got to be right. And, you just kind of have to get it in because there's not a lot of time. But this particular episode, it was special because it just felt like an independent film. But, there's a lot of projects, that I've done. More recently, I took part in the new West Side Story film by Spielberg that's coming out.
Oh, nice.
It was very exciting. I assisted mainly. I was brought onto the project to assist with like the dialect work, making sure that, like, the Spanish was on point, and like the accents were authentic.
Right.
They brought me in for that, so I was there for the entire time. But while I was there, Spielberg gave me a little bit of love, and he cast me in a small role in the film. So I get a chance to be a part of, this iconic piece, which, becomes another version of iconic because he did it. He did his own version of it. And that was pretty exciting. That's like a dream come true.
Yeah. And then you move from that. We're going to get to your other story in a second, but you move from that, other people's TV shows and films, to creating your own. And you released your own film under your own entertainment group.
Yeah.
And so tell them about that one.
So when, early on, like in my career, when the phone wasn't ringing, and, and kind of sitting around thinking like, should I do something else? Because I had those moments, as a lot of artists might have those moments. And during that time, I discovered that I was a good writer. I was already doing stand-up, so I knew that I could write. But in terms of like writing scripts was a different animal for me. And I wasn't sure if I could do it, but I started writing. And then I was on a Latino sketch comedy show that was on a cable network that I was hired to write sketches for on a weekly basis. It was a show called Llegamos, which I worked with comedian George Diaz, Las Vic, Guilty, which you know him as Dark Gable Most, right? From the Most.
Yes, from the Most Brothers.
So we were writing for that show. And so that got me going in terms of writing until I started writing my own material. Released a sketch comedy DVD called The Victor Cruz Show, Volume 1. Who is Victor Cruz? And I was basically out at the comedy clubs. I would perform, and then I'd be outside after the show hounding people like rappers in Times Square. Like, my DVD, Shun, this is hot, you know. And so that's how it started, but it led up onto the project you're talking about, which is the Stockroom.
Stockroom, yes, sir.
It's a feature film, which if you have Amazon Prime, if anybody has Amazon Prime account, you can watch the film there. It's available there. And that was a big labor of love, man. You know, so many people that I love came on board to help to make that happen. And, you know, they say it takes a village, man. It takes a village to make a film.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I definitely understand that because, you know, I did one with some folks and released it early this year. So it's definitely work, but it's such a beautiful thing at the end of the day. And I want to congratulate you, man, because I do know the work and it's a funny piece of work, you know, and you're a hustler, you're a grinder. We all are in this game. But when you see your folks actually doing it and they're out there and they're successful, not just surviving, but successful in it, it makes you kind of happy, you know, for your folks. So you did the Stockroom. It's available. It's out there. You told the folks what's happening, but you're wearing a sweatshirt type of jacket. And this is your latest venture out to the public. I mean, your cartoon.
Yes.
And I'm not of the Hispanic culture, so I'm just gonna say. Let me see if I can say it. Tita.
Tita, you got it.
Tita.
That's it, man.
Tell them about Tita.
You know, we grown up around each other. That you know, you got it, man. That's it. You know, Tita is she is a New Yorican from the Bronx who doesn't play, no filter. You know, she fights for her family and for community. And she's definitely going through a big transformation at 62. So when you get a chance to watch this cartoon, you see her go through all these different adventures. I'm super proud of this project so much because I love this woman and everybody loves her. I think people are more interested in casting her than they are in casting me as an actor in any project. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay. I'll just be her agent. But to be honest with you, man, this was a project that I had been doing this character's voice for years, and I never knew what I was going to do with it. And when the pandemic hit and everybody was home trying to figure out what they were going to do, I experimented with the idea of turning her into an animated cartoon. And I did the first episode, but what's cool about this project is I didn't do this show with the intention of like, you know, sometimes you come up with a strategy like based on these numbers, like the way the corporate world does that, you know, with movies and shows. I just did it out of love. Like I wanted to see how people would react to it.
Right.
And so when I did the first episode, they went crazy. They loved it. Showed so much love. By the time I got to the third episode, I mean, this thing was, you know, had been viewed over like 300,000 times.
Wow.
On Facebook and on Instagram. It was going crazy. And so I knew that I had something. And so I think a lot of people can relate to her. You know, can relate to some of the things that she's fighting about and some of the nuances and things she goes through.
That's awesome, man. That's a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? I'm really proud of you, brother. You know, because again, being in the same game, you know the struggles, and you know what it takes to get something done, and you just keep grinding. You keep grinding. You mentioned a few minutes ago. I want to bring that up because you mentioned your family, and you have a beautiful family. I've seen your posts about your wife and your children, and you said now you have a younger one.
Yeah.
So tell us about the whole. Well, you know what? I'm gonna get into the married stuff in the second part of this.
That's your department, man. Love and all that.
Yeah.
Stuff, you know?
but it's all good. So let's, you know, you mentioned them. I want to say, hey, shout out to the Cruz family, and we'll get into the. But talk about them in the second half. We talk about love and your opinions, but talk about what it's like having a family while you're doing all this. You know what I mean? And doing it now for your legacy.
Well, I tell you what's so special about, and because we were just talking about Tita, here's a perfect example of how we're so connected. My kids, my daughter is now 7 and my son is 3. And so while I'm literally animating the episodes on my computer, my kids are climbing all over me. They want to be part of the experience. They're there to watch
Right.
the whole thing go down. My daughter gives me ideas and unfiltered. She's like, "No, Dad, why did you do that? Take that off." And she treats like she's a producer, and I'm like,
Right.
"Easy, easy." But she does make a lot of good points, and I really do listen to her. I mean, she makes some really good points, and when I apply it, believe it or not, it's very effective. I'm like, "You're 7, and you know a lot."
Right. I was going to ask you, how old is she? So she's a 7-year-old
7-year-old producer.
doing her thing. Now, does that, again, that you're smiling, and does that make you like really proud because it's what you're doing, and kids are much smarter than we were when we were coming up and all that. It's the technology and everything, and they get stuff quicker. Like yeah, like the first time she was right because you were like, "Be quiet over there." Okay, you know what? Maybe she. How does that feel, man? As a pops, I'm a father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels great, because both my kids are very strong. Like you could see the strength in them, the confidence, the independence that I don't think I had at that age. And I encourage it, where when I was a kid growing up, and maybe you can relate to this, if you had, there were things you could not say, you could not speak up, you had to be quiet, you couldn't,
Right, right.
it was like, we went to church in my house and there's God, but then like the fear of my dad was just above God because he just seemed more powerful, just you don't want to piss off dad or mom. But
Yeah,
anyway, my point is that I grew up more afraid to do the wrong thing or to, I wanted to just follow the order where when my kids have something to say, I'm still their dad. I'm not their friend. I mean, there's still a difference and there's still discipline and all that, but there's love and there's an openness for what they have to offer. And I try to give them a platform so that they can build their confidence.
sure.
As they're growing up, I think that's a cool thing. And I love seeing them when they express it.
Just gonna jump to the comments because we got people watching. What's up, Facebook? What's going down, and what's happening on all of my streams right there. Tyreek, that's my producer. Your daughter has to get an IMDb credit.
So true. You're right.
And we got potential comedians. When you're around comedians, people that are not comedians try to be comedians. My boy Jerome says, ask him when was the last time he caught a pass from Eli.
Man. As soon as it's been a while because I had that injury. I had to leave. Didn't work out, but I'm doing some TV things now.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So what do you have in the we're in this pandemic. We're going, we continue to do what we do. This is why we're here tonight because I can't stop being creative. I can't stop doing what I love to do or in love with. What do you have for the immediate while this pandemic is still going on that could be out soon?
Yeah, so I'm just I continue to move forward with Tita. I've got a bunch of more episodes coming up, and I'm just going to keep producing them. But aside from that, I'm always creative, always continuing to write and develop new projects. But I'm also a teacher as well. I train actors. So even though there's a pandemic, I still train a great deal virtually. Mm-hmm. And very safely, I also help assist actors with doing self-tapes here at my studio in Midtown in New York City, for anybody who might be watching is not from here or from outside.
Right.
But, so those are the things that are happening. And then I've got some projects that I've done which haven't been released yet just because of pandemic, and they've held back those projects. So they'll come in 2021. Aside from that, man, just Tita is taking a lot of my time, and I'm very, very happy to create the cartoons. Like I think I'm at my happiest in terms of my career, believe it or not. I mean, I've done a lot of really cool stuff and worked with a lot of really great people.
Right. Yeah.
The freedom that I feel in creating this cartoon is fantastic, man.
So tell them, man, where they can find Tita.
Yeah, sure. If you go to YouTube and you just type in the name Tita, Tita. I can't. I'm like trying to find
It's
this.
backwards right on the camera, right?
Is that right? It's not mirrored. So Tita, you'll find her. But if you want, you could also type in youtube.com/lowercase c/ Tita's World. Or you can go to titasworld.com and you can find that's actually her store. So we sell a bunch of merchandise
Okay.
of her. We've got some really cool mugs and t-shirts and book bags and journals. Right now, because of the holiday season, we've got a Coquito mug. It's the official Coquito mug for this year.
Coquito mug. All right. Okay.
Yeah, so if you drink some Coquito, well, we've got the mug for the Coquito, you know? And I'm going to treat it like the Hess trucks. You know how the Hess trucks come out every year and it's a different truck for the kids or for the adults? But every year we're going to have a different Coquito mug. So
that's
you
great.
can collect them throughout the years.
Hey, man, listen, really honest question. You think you can do a cartoon of me?
Cartoon of you?
Yeah, could we do consider doing a cartoon, something?
That would be the smoothest cartoon to ever see because your voice is so smooth, you know?
Yeah. You know, I thank you. I think
it's quite possible. We'd have to keep the red shades on too.
Yeah, well, see, these are my little, they're computer shades, but they are starting to be a part of my regular wardrobe. So I'm just trying to accessorize. You know how the brothers do. You know, they're trying to accessorize everything. So they are kind of looking a little decent. So that's all right. All right, man. So listen, in a few minutes, we're going to take a quick break and then come back with the second half and find out about the love side. You know, the warm, the romantic side of Victor Cruz. So one more time, tell them about the Stockroom, where they can catch that, and then we'll roll.
No, perfect. So if you want to check out the Stockroom, if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can watch it right on Amazon Prime. If you want to check out Tita, literally just type in Tita. If you go to YouTube, she's going to pop up. I encourage you to subscribe because every week or every few days there's a new episode dropping. And so I would love for you to be a part of that. You can also log on to titasworld.com. And I know I'm going to come back, but hey, follow me on Instagram at Victor Cruz Films.
All right. And also, again, just a list of things, because I like to get this, since we got this time, to get it in, tell them some of the projects that they can catch you in, the films and TV.
Yeah, for sure. Man, you know, if you go to IMDb, type in Victor Cruz, there's a whole list of stuff that, you know, to give you like anything you might want to check out, from Law and Orders to Blue Bloods, you know, The Other Woman with Cameron Diaz, the new Annie with Jamie Foxx. I've done a ton of TV shows, and, you know, the entire list is there in case there's anything specifically you're interested in checking out.
All right, cool. Well, check it out. Well, let's do this now then, since we've got a full piece. Let's take a quick break, and I want you to count down from 3 in your head, folks out there in TV land, and we will be right back with more Victor Cruz on After Dark with Shawn Cornelius.
Whoa. Dude, relax. Yo, what the hell? You did this to me! You did this to me! Hey, Joseph! Stop! Get off me! Joseph, take it easy, man! Joe. Get off me. Hello? I'll be right up. Promotion time? All right. Stop! There is no promotion! What happened? Corporate is bringing one of their own guys. It's done.
But that job was yours.
Look, it isn't mine anymore, okay? That's it! We're not gonna fix what isn't broken, okay? So get back to work now.
Coquito, get your coquito. Made with real coconuts, fíjate. Well, that's what Tata told me, but I don't know if I believe her because sometimes she be telling stories.
How dare you selling intoxicants in front of my property?
Oh, look who it is, the Grinch that stole the Bronx.
Very funny, Fernanda.
It's Tita.
Whatever. What do you got there? Eggnog?
It's Coquito.
Eggnog.
Coquito.
Eggnog.
Coquito.
Eggnog. Ay, ¿qué es eso? Eso es coquito.
Hi, Mr. Roberto. You want some coquito?
Bueno, si hay, me tomo un traguito.
Ay.
Oh my God. Did you kill him?
Ay, bendito. Hope Tata didn't put too much rum in there. Sometimes she be heavy-handed.
Who's that special lady with a story to tell? It's Tita. Tita.
Yo, that's a hit. Mr. Roberto. Mr. Roberto.
Ese coquito está bueno.
All right, welcome back to the show, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out and hanging in. Victor Cruz is still here with us. Yes, he is. And now, Victor, but now this is when we just totally do a flip. And we put you on what I call the love seat, the romantic funny man's love seat. And the fans that have been following the show, they love this section, where now we find out about Victor Cruz's opinions on that department, that category.
All right, I was my best.
Yeah, so let's do this. Yeah, obviously, you're married, you have children, so a little bit of something. You got it together. So let's find out. I'm gonna ask you the same things that I ask everybody because it always comes up with different answers. What is Victor Cruz's definition of love, and why is it important to you?
My definition of love. My definition of love is also has laughter infused in it, support, unlimited support, being able to be supportive, to be there for one another, to laugh together, to hear each other, to definitely be there with them, not just during the good times, but definitely during those tough, challenging times. Love is just means so many things, but it just definitely encompasses a lot of the stuff I just shared.
Cool. And why is it important to you?
It's important to me because if it wasn't there, I think I would be off balance. It fuels my life. I think like, the gasoline in a car, the battery in a car, something like that. It's important to me because I feel like you need it to live. You just need it to be. Love is very important. Without it, so interesting, man. Nobody's ever asked me that question. Such a good question. And so simple of a question.
Right.
But
right.
so important at the same time.
Hey, man, it's all good. And again, what I like about when I ask these questions to everybody has their own response and their own answer and their own definitions, which makes it so unique, authentic, and real, because we know what the dictionary definitions are, but everybody experiences it in their own way. So there's no wrong answer.
I do have one additional one I want to add in.
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
I discovered the truest form of love. Now, what my wife and I have is such a beautiful love, such a beautiful thing, but it was my children. My two kids, they are the ultimate essence of the word love. They are love.
Right.
So they are the ultimate level of love, a love that you cannot explain in words. You just feel it.
You feel it. It's a feeling sometimes. It's just what it is, man. So that's beautiful. Okay, so let's dabble with romance. What's your definition of romance, and why is that important to you?
Romance. What is my definition of romance? I think my definition of romance is knowing what's important to the other person, to your partner, and even to yourself, because you can get romantic with yourself. I mean, there's so many forms of
No, that's true. Good.
romance,
Yes.
but like, think about it. You take yourself out on a date, and you enjoy that time with yourself. Having a glass of wine with you, going to the movies just for you when the movie theaters were open. Um, so, so my definition of romance is definitely a part of that, but also too, like, understanding, as I said earlier, understanding what your partner loves and likes, and what means to them, like what's important to them, and making sure that you're conscious and aware of the little details that you can surprise them with to let them know that they're important. And I
Right.
think that's a big one for me.
And why would that be important?
I always seem to forget that question, right?
No problem. That's why I'm here, brother.
Please guide me, be with me. It's important to me. I think most importantly because I think I love seeing, like when I think of my wife, I love seeing her happy. Her happiness and her joy, and her being able to be in a space where she can just be her fullest self. It fulfills me, and I think that's why it's important to me to make sure that romance is there, making that other person feel very, very special.
Cool. And as like you said, one of the things that's really important is knowing how to romance yourself.
Yeah.
Because once you're able to do that, you know how, at least the basic steps, how to romance other people.
Yeah.
Someone that you're involved with, because like you going to the movies by yourself, being at home by yourself. I love the romantic energy, and it relaxes me. It calms me, makes me feel good, and it doesn't have to be anything specific, So that's good, man. All right, so Nate, give us 3 things that attracts Victor Cruz to a woman. And it could have been the things that attracted you to your wife, but in general, what attracts you to a woman?
Well, definitely good conversation is number one. I met my wife at a very young age. We were teenagers in high school. And I think she was the first girl that I spoke to that like made me think. I felt like I was having an actual conversation about things that were important to her or important to me. And she would hear me and I could hear her. And what was the question again?
3 things that attract you to a woman.
400 things. Okay. So 3 things that attract me about a woman. Okay, here it is. Let me simplify it. Good conversation.
There you go.
Man, good conversation.
That's why we call this the love seat. I don't call it the hot seat, but it's the love seat.
I think just a beautiful personality. Beautiful personality. It trumps the superficial idea of beauty, And then the third thing is, what was the question again?
One more thing that turns you on about a woman.
Man.
See, these are things we don't think about because it's just
true.
They're naturally there, but when you got to sit down and go, wow, there's so many, but wait a minute. And like you escape. What was the question again?
All right. Good conversation, great personality. And in my wife's case, she has such a beautiful voice. Actually, the reason I fell so hard for her was because she sang a song. We were in high school together. We were in musical theater together. And she didn't know. But I secretly, privately fell in love with just her entire being just by hearing her voice.
Wow. That's beautiful, man. Yeah, that works. See how easy it is? It's easy. It's real simple. So now let's hopefully this next one is easy. Let's go to the opposite end.
The question, of course, as you can see.
Yeah, let's go to the opposite side. What are 3 turnoffs about women? What turns you off about women?
Bad attitude. disrespectful to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'll do it for you. What was the question again?
what was the question again? 3 turnoff.
Return offs. You had 2, brother. You got one more.
I want to be really careful about bad attitude when I say that, because I know there's a lot of women watching, and I don't want that to be misconceived. It's just a person that maybe is not happy with self,
Mm-hmm.
and and this could be man or woman, but they try to bring that to somebody else, and maybe I'm trying to live my best life, or I'm in a good space, and so the bad attitude doesn't turn me on, in that sense. And what was the second thing I said? Since we're keeping track of, I said the second thing.
No, now you want to put me to it. I'm moving forward, Vic. I ain't going backwards.
All right.
You said,
You got it.
no. I'm just playing because I actually
I have one left.
Yeah, you got one left. But you said bad attitude.
Yeah.
And the people out there, I guarantee you, somebody's gonna say it because they're watching the show. They're gonna tell us. I guarantee it. But bad attitude was one, and then I don't know the first because you were quick when you said the first one.
Yeah, bad attitude, and
but I don't think
it was a lack of respect for the
right. Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I don't think. I think it's cool to. I mean, it's not cool, but it is. Being realistic when you're talking about basically self-esteem, bad attitude about themselves, and then you're talking about an attitude that could be negative.
Yeah.
So it's kind of 2 different things. So you got those 2. So yeah, you're on your last one, brother.
On my last one. The last one. Yeah, maybe a woman that takes everything a little too serious. Lack of sense of humor. Could be a turnoff for me.
Okay.
I feel like I played it safe on that last.
Yeah, hey brother, you want to go back and talk about Tita? We can.
No. I've just never been in the love seat before.
Nah, that's cool. You're making it. You're doing fine. You're doing fine. This one should be easy. Give me 3 ingredients to a successful relationship. I mean, obviously, there's no basic time for success, and this is subjective because it's whatever you deem. So, what are 3 ingredients that you think would help to create a successful relationship?
Friendship, true friendship.
Okay.
Honesty with self and with the other person. And the last one is continued laughter.
Yeah. So you ran through those. And that's because obviously, and how long have you 7 years? How long have you been married?
Well, we just celebrated 11 years.
11 years.
About 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But before that, we were together 10. So we technically been together 21 years.
Okay. See, and then so that again, whatever time frame you deeming success or whatever you deem successful, 2 years could be successful to some people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a wonderful thing. So now you talked a little bit. We talked about romance. What on a scale of 1 to 10, where would Victor Cruz put Victor Cruz on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as being romantic?
I think I'm very romantic. I won't give myself a 10 because that just means I'm perfect. So I'll leave myself room for error, and I'll say 8.7.
You're the first guest. I was being so honest that has had a 0.7 or something or a point anything to their romantic Richter scale.
Yeah. It's like when I go to an audition, they say, "Well, how tall are you?" I'm like, "I'm 5'7" and a quarter." I got to throw that in.
All right, good deal. That's such fantastic, man. So when we rock and roll, okay, you have those successful ingredients for your relationship. What kind of advice would you give people that somebody might even said to you, but before you got into your relationships and into your marriage and into things that you could be some general advice for folks? Because what you're saying so far, people should pick up on and go, "Wow, funny, yeah, talk, communication." But personal stuff from Victor Cruz that you might have even learned in your marriage.
Well, I think patience. Patience is a big one that I've learned. Really taking the time to hear what's being said. listen to body language, not just what's being said, but look at the entire situation. And I think a lot of compassion, a lot of empathy is important too, because a lot of times we can get caught up in what we need, what we want, and what about my needs,
Right. Yes. Yes.
We can forget that the partner, the other person, is going through something, and we're not reading the signs. We're not seeing the codes, and we're missing a lot. And that actually can probably lead to some problematic relationship stuff, which if you can just step back for a second and realize that the other person is not doing something maliciously all the time, or maybe not at all. It's just that they're going through something. And if you maybe just take a moment, you could ask, hey, what's going on? And maybe you can be part of the solution.
Right. 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 That's real important, man. Real important info. Because sometimes we're so self-absorbed, and you don't take the time to think about, or it may not be the moment that you think about the other person's wants and needs, desires, or whatever they're dealing with. So it's kind of like crazy, like comedy. Relationships are kind of like timing. There's timing to everything, but you have to be able to compromise and understand the other person's or situation, and what we call love languages and things, are how they are and as they are as a whole total person.
Yeah, think about like when you get on stage, right? You read the audience. You're reading the audience, and you're almost designing how the first joke is going to come, or what you might want to talk about just based on the temperature. And that's a very similar thing. Not that you're thinking of a joke, but hey, maybe it is a joke with your partner. But I think we as comedians have to do that. We really have to read an audience. Otherwise, we're on that stage by ourselves.
Yeah.
That could be the same in life.
Yeah. All right. And you being a creative person, give us something that you've done creatively that would be something considered that just floored a woman, that just took, let's say your wife, you've been with her 11 years, something you could tell us that was like, Victor Cruz, you're the man.
Something that I created.
That you did. Yeah. That would be considered on the romantic, loving, intimate level that you can tell people, like you've already told folks about what you've done. Tell us.
Well, I was just sharing a story today with a very close friend of mine about how I proposed to my wife. And what I did was I proposed to her at a comedy show. She had no idea that it was coming. It was a show that I produced. And everybody in the audience knew that it was coming.
Okay.
He walked into the room. She said, wow, you did a really good job. Like, this show is sold out. Like, people are hanging off the ceiling. Now, I told her, I said, look, I got this sketch that we're supposed to do tonight, but one of my actors is not here. I said, look, you would have no lines. Would you be willing to like just partake so we can actually do the sketch?
Right.
She's like, yeah, sure. And I remember that night she was supposed to see The Color Purple with her grandmother. Her grandmother bought tickets, but I said, look, you'll be out of here and be able to jump in a cab and get to the show.
Sweet.
And she gets on stage. And matter of fact, the other comedians that helped me do this proposal, Dark Gable Most was there, Guilty.
Okay.
Laz Vic, Kenny Ortega, he was there.
Right.
And Kenny was wearing a wig. He had a blonde wig, and his T-shirt said the name Mary on it.
Okay.
I think Gil had a shirt that said Will. His name was Will. And Laz had another shirt that ultimately in the end is spelled Will You Marry Me? But she had no idea, even with that, because they're running around the stage. I mean, this is like a classic comedy moment in, vaudeville or something.
Right.
And it wasn't until they brought the special dish of the evening that she sort of saw a ring box underneath the napkin. But even then she questioned. She's like, wait, is he doing this right now? And she was like, wait a minute. No, this is just part of the sketch.
Right.
Boom. When it was revealed, the entire room just went crazy. Wow. And she didn't see it coming. And it was just sort of me using my creativity, a sketch I wrote. This is something I had been, we've been doing comedy for a long time. and for me to say, let me use my creativity as a way to express my love to you, and also to let you know that I love you enough that I would love to make this official. And so that's one of those dates that never goes not remembered, because it left such an impression.
Nah, that's awesome, man. I applaud you. I applaud you, man. That's a beautiful thing, because that's why I said, I knowing you as a creative individual, I know there was something as opposed to just the regular get out on one knee, hey, what you want to do type deal. You know, and it's beautiful to hear those stories, because a lot of women say chivalry and those kind of things are gone today out of men. And a lot of it obviously is older women who say that because they're used to the old school ways. The younger generation of ladies, some of them have not experienced the chivalry of the old school, so they don't even, it's whatever, you know. But that's a beautiful story. All right, Vic Cruz, this is what we're gonna do, man. I'm gonna have some more fun with you, and then I'm gonna let you off the love seat. So I got a game that I call Favorite Sevens. And I'm just gonna say something.
I'm hot on this chair now.
And then you're gonna give me your favorite. All right, this one should be easy for you. So wipe the sweat, and we all good. All right, here we go. Your favorite food.
Favorite food. Italian food. First thing that came to my mind.
Okay, that works. Favorite all-time movie.
Back to the Future.
Okay. All right.
Maybe not my all-time favorite. It's the first thing that came to my mind.
Okay. All right. Favorite all-time song.
Donny Hathaway's "This Christmas."
Right. Wow, beautiful. Very beautiful. Yeah, a lot of people made that song over in renditions.
Yeah, Donny does it the best.
The best. Yep. Favorite book that you've ever read.
Favorite book. The Call of the Wild by Jack London.
I remember that book. We had to read that in school when I was younger.
It was like the first book that I think I officially read. Like, you know, you entering that age where because I wasn't really reading, but that book caught my attention and I read it and it was just great.
Right. Good book. Good choice. Favorite vacation spot.
Rome, Italy. Oh gosh.
Go back. Go ahead. I'll give you two.
All right. You know what it was? You know what it is? Okay. God, you know, I didn't get a chance to say this, but last year when my wife and I celebrated our 10-year anniversary, she had no idea that I was taking her to Rome, Italy.
Okay.
Literally, we got to the airport. She had no idea. She had no idea it was coming. She kept trying to ask me. I never told any of her friends because I said, her friends are going to ruin this. Somebody's going to slip. Nobody knew.
But of course, right.
Anyways, that's my favorite. My favorite.
Rome, Italy. All right, cool. Favorite TV show?
Twilight Zone.
Another good one. Now, do you like the newer version with Jordan Peele? I mean, Peele.
You know, to be honest with you, I have not watched it yet.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, but that old school Rod Serling was the best.
Classic. I mean, yeah, you know, Hitchcock and Rod Serling and all that stuff is fantastic. It really makes you think. If you watch it today, there's one in particular. There's two of my favorites of Twilight Zone. One is The Obsolete Man. It's a great episode. And the other one is the one where this guy, he's the one that played the Penguin, and he was Mickey and Rocky.
Burgess Meredith.
Yes, I couldn't think of his name.
Burgess Meredith.
But it was the one where he was obsessed with reading, and nobody would let him read. And finally, he went to reading in the bank vault, and there was an atomic explosion. Yeah. The last man on Earth. Anyway, that's my favorite episode.
Okay, cool. And then one more, and I'm gonna let you off the hot seat, brother.
All right.
Favorite time of the day for love making or intimacy?
I'm gonna say 3:00 in the afternoon. You got energy. If it's late at night, you might have the whole day. You've done all this stuff, so you're not gonna give your best performance. But 3:00 in the afternoon, maybe 11 in the morning, you might be at your best.
Okay, well, you might be.
Not you. Sean's like, I'm good all the time.
Oh, brother. Hey, man. with, with that answer, Victor Cruz, you are off the romantic funny man's love seat, brother. Listen, I want to say thank you so much for coming through, man. You don't know how special this is. There's small things that mean a lot to me. And this is one of those things because I know that you've got your life, your family, your things, and for you to sit down and come and say, "Hey, man, yes, I'll do this." I so much appreciate it. So I thank you
It's
very
my
much.
pleasure, man. Honestly, ever since I've known you, you have been an extremely positive person. All you do is give in love. You are just a beautiful individual aside from being extremely funny and extremely talented. But honestly, you are just a great human being. Like anybody, it's just a good space to be in. So I'm honored to be on your show. I'm humbled that you asked me, and thank you so much.
Hey, man, I definitely again appreciate you. So before we go, one more time, give them all the information. Where can they find you? Where can they find the Stockroom? Where can they find Tita? And give them a little positive message on the way out.
Absolutely. So if you want to check out the Stockroom, if you are an Amazon Prime member, the Stockroom is available on Amazon Prime. If you want to check out Tita, still pointing at the you like that? Tita? Okay. So, you go to YouTube, just type in Tita, Tita. She will pop up. Also visit her store, titasworld.com. You can also watch the episodes right there too. And if you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram than even Facebook and Twitter. So Instagram's where it's at. Check me out. I'm at Victor Cruz Films. And the message that I'll leave with you all is this. There is no one else like you in this world. No matter what anybody tells you. You have your own gifts. You have your own journey. It's just waiting for you to decide to do something with it and do it fearlessly. You're going to meet good people along the way that are going to support you. And you're going to meet people along the way that may not see it the same way, but it doesn't matter. Always remember to respect yourself, to honor yourself, and live your dream to the fullest, no matter what anybody says. Do your thing.
Hey, thank you, brother, so much. I love you, man. I appreciate you.
Love you too, man.
And please come back when you got some things going on, and you can get on the hot seat. And next time, just wear your bun cooler, and you can come back and sit down anytime with me, man.
Give me a nice pack.
Yes, sir. And I also want to thank everybody that's tuned in on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for the support, and make sure you catch us again on another episode. So as I always say in parting, please go with God in your heart. Have a peace of mind. Have a wonderful, wonderful tomorrow. And please keep yourself safe. As I've been saying, if you're not going to keep yourself safe for yourself, keep yourself safe for me and Vic. You got two beautiful children and a wife. I have my children, no wife. I'm cool. I'm happy. We're all right. But, just do that for us. So from Lula Mae and Cornelius's baby boy, I'm Shawn Cornelius saying good night, and I'll catch you around the corner on the next episode of After Dark with Shawn Cornelius. God bless. Victor, thank you so much, brother. Peace.
Thank you.
We've all put on a few pounds due to the pandemic.
Ay,
and there
bendito,
is
tell
nothing
me
wrong with
about
having
it.
A little extra meat on our bones. We can't allow what people say to imprison us anymore.
Mira, don't you
So go
dare.
ahead, unlock that cage, and let the beast run free. So during your
Okay.
next workout, do it your way,
Esta nena es una fresca.
as Pandemaware is here to support.
Ay, pero what is she doing?
Pandemaware, expanding as far as you do.
Ay, I need that. This pandemic made me fat.
No, Titi, you was already fat before the pandemic.
Mira, presentar. Nobody was even talking to you. Ay, bendito, this dress is so tight I could barely breathe. If I didn't have Angel, I would have had a nice body.
Yo, Mom, I can hear you.
Kike?
Tita, wow, look at you. It's been 40 years, and you haven't changed a bit.
Ay, nene, stop lying. When you first met me, I was a size 6 con pimples y long hair. I was like the Rapunzel of the South Bronx.
But my love for you hasn't changed. The moment you entered the room, the temperature in the air shifted.
Mira, Kike, no sea fresco. Mira, let's eat dinner before the food gets ice cold, and instead we're gonna be making piraguas. You like your new hat?
Are you kidding me? I love it. I feel like the Puerto Rican Indiana Jones. Hey, you remember when I took you to see that? Whitestone Drive-In 1981.
That's right, Angel wasn't even born yet.
Things were simpler back then.
The world was ours. Punch buggy.
And we? Woo! We had the wedding of the century.
Yeah, but remember, Kike, that the cake never got there, and we had to go to Valencia at the last minute and get a pineapple cake. Okay, your grandmother remembers sharing congratulations. No, embuste, fue tu tía Carmen from 148. They remember her hands were shaking so much that it looked more like a kid was playing on an Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh, I remember. Hey, do you remember our first dance? We danced to I Love You by the Climax Blues Band. I leaned into your ear and I said, I love you forever into the next lifetime.
Yeah, that's when you stepped on my bad toe and I screamed so loud that mommy fell out of her chair.
I'm sorry, mamita.
You told me you would always be here, Kike.
I know. I'm sorry.
Who's that special lady with a story to tell? It's Tita.
Yo, that's a hit.